Namaste all, very good afternoon. The most difficult time and experience is when something is scheduled post-lunch, right? All right, my name is Devi Prasad, not the one from Hera Fairy movie. This is the one who works with Apollo Health and Lifestyle. I was told we have roughly 30 minutes, but let me be very honest with you, I actually take 30 minutes to just clear my throat. So don't expect much from me, in terms of moderation. But as a ritual, what I always do is, I always request the audience to give me a huge round of applause. Could you please give me a huge round of applause? The reason I do this is because I need this beforehand, afterward there is no guarantee. Someone very knowledgeable once told me, the best way to address a key gathering is to stand up, speak up, and very quickly wrap up. So what it means is, it will have a good beginning, a very quick ending, and nothing in between. So dear panel members, you know what I'm going to do today, right? Absolutely. Now, since I know it's a post-lunch session, can I request a big round of applause for the people who are sitting in the last rows, because I always find the best brains are found in the last rows of the conference halls. Thank you, ObserveNow, for a kind invitation. It's my privilege and honor to be here. And before we get started, I have 4 lines for the HR professionals. दिल से सुनते हैं, दिमाग से समझते हैं, इंसानी जज्बात और बिजनेस दोनों संभालते हैं. रिश्ते हो या रोल्स, फर्ज निभाते हैं हम, HR के नाम पे फक्र है, मुस्कुराते हैं हम. So a big round of applause to all the HR professionals here. Today's topic is going to be on skill-based hiring, which is going to bring a revolution, in fact, in terms of redefining talent, growth, and future of work. So, what is this topic all about? Let me just give you a brief heads up, right, before we deep dive and get into the best brains, that India has ever produced, right? They're on the stage. So before I do that, let me give you a brief heads up. What is this topic all about? I'm sure all of you know this, not that I'm going to tell you something more which you don't know. But maybe I'll try to put it in a way which will give us the feeler for today's topic. We are standing at the dawn of a hiring revolution. For decades, as we all know, jobs were defined by degrees, titles, and years of experience. But today, the script has changed. Maybe skills has become the new currency, agility is the new passport, and growth is the new paycheck. The world of work is no longer asking for, where did you study? It is asking, what can you solve? No longer it asks, what role do you hold? Rather, what value do you create? Now, there's a change in thought process, there's a change in mindset, there's a change in terms of we approach the things. So, skill-based revolution is not just changing recruitment, but I think it's redefining talent. I think it's rewriting the growth and reshaping the future of work. And all the 3 words that I spoke just now, we're going to cover during our panel discussion. So, let me start with a very short story, and then I will come to Dr. Ashish for this. In one of the IT companies, 2 candidates applied for a cybersecurity role. One had a certification, and one had the experience of working in a firewall environment, which we call it a firewall tool. And that we did is in his free time. Both the candidates were interviewed, and the interview feedback was, the one who was certificate definitely was good, no doubt on that, because he displayed knowledge during the interview process. Parallelly, the one who worked on the real-time experience, on the skill, in fact, he was hired because he displayed and demonstrated those during the hiring process. And later on, he came and helped in actually saving his company from a phishing attack. So the manager later said, mark my words, certificates show knowledge, but skills show results. So with this, I'd like to turn my left and request Dr. Ashish. So Ashish, we'd like to understand from you, certifications and batches are everywhere now. So how do we know which one actually proves someone's ability?
Thanks, Devi. I prefer to stand and answer. Post-lunch is difficult to sit. Although I didn't have a heavy lunch, but still all right. So very good question, actually. As HR professionals today, we see in the industry, we take thousands and thousands of interviews. Everybody, well-polished CV, a lot of certificates attached. But then, like most of the HR professionals, we are CBI certified, competency-based interviewing certified. We are also more or less CPTP professionals. When we ask the particular candidate, when we grill them on the skills, that's where lies the answer. The point is, very recently I had a very unpleasant experience. We had a candidate from one of the top B schools, had a lovely polished certificate, probably other organizations would have just offered a job. But when I started asking to the ground level, the basics, the scientific aspects of the subjects, the knowledge was extremely shallow. The point is, these certificates are only an entry point, but the point is tomorrow how well you are able to practically apply and solve my real world problems. There, that's important. So that's, secondly, how, what have been the assessment patterns for these certifications? Has been MCQ's multiple choice question? You can keep on attempting a number of times, you'll get a certificate, or has it been really rigorous and scientific? Thirdly, has such certifications been validated by the employees and peers? That's more important. So through these 3 points, we can come to know whether a particular person has the skill along with badges, because that will make the difference.
Awesome. I think golden words coming from Ashish, and thank you, Ashish. And in fact, I was just scrolling the internet. I was trying to dive a little bit into the data part, which literally says, according to 2024 World Economic Forum, only 38% of employers consider online certifications a reliable measure of skills. They rely more on demonstrable projects and outcomes. Having said this, if you talk about LinkedIn today, for example, and in fact, I engage myself a lot more with LinkedIn, and even if I also do a lot of certifications. But what, as Ashish rightly pointed out, it is not just about the certification only, but the real question is, do they really or truly reflect the ability, or they are just the digital medals, right? And having said this, I think certifications may be the cover, but I think the true ability is the story inside the book, right? That's what it matters the most. Thank you. So with this, we'll move to the next one. And when I move to the next one, in the 90s, typically, I'm from 90s era, so I love 90s. Sorry if I keep referring 90s. It's just that I have covered my gray hairs to a black one so that I don't look old. So in the 90s, typically if you talk about extra skill, today it's basically like breathing in the corporate life, right? Somebody, if you talk about typing, let's say, 90s mein typing bolne se mana jata tha ki it's one of the prerequisite for interviews, right? Or MS Office, in the resume it is must. हम सबके resume पे MS Office proficient लिखा गया होगा. I'm sure all of us in the room, right? But today you talk about, and people are talking beyond MS Office. They're talking beyond typing. Typing is like breathing in the corporate world today, right? It is no more a skill today. But it was in 90s, one of the gateway for getting into the corporate world, or maybe doing your day-to-day job. So skills like critical thinking, or resilience, or emotional, resilience, maybe as valuable as the technical know-how. So things are changing, and changing for good. Having said this, the core still remains. It's not that the core is not required. But when you talk about, let's say like coding, AI, blockchain, these are the skills which are changing the world right now, and at least we hear once a day today. That's how it is. You go to any forum, you go to any article that you read from any of the established players, or you look at your workplace or dynamics. In fact, last week I was at Microsoft office. I was invited there for one of the sessions they were conducting, and I was taken aback with the things that are happening in the real world. The way things are going to be agentic AI, if talk about, I could get a demo of that. Things are really moving fast. It is not about people not knowing it. It is going to be only help you to hone up your skills. So with this, I'll come to my friend Abhishek. So Abhishek, Deloitte says 65% of the jobs of the Gen Alpha don't even exist, which means adaptability, empathy, and creativity will become priceless. So what is one skill that you think is undervalued today, but will become critical in the next 5 years?
Thank you. Thanks, Devi, for that question. It's a good question in terms of, okay, if you think about it from a very futuristic perspective, there's so much of information around us, right? Since the internet has come, we are absolutely drowning in information. But with the AI now coming into the picture, this information sea will become a tsunami for all of us. So you will see a lot of analytics, a lot of charts, a lot of data points, a lot of all of this coming your way, whichever process, function, or business unit you belong to. So one skill, which at least in my perspective, what I think would be to make sense and judgment from all of this information coming your way, basically to separate the signal from the noise and ensure that you are able to take a good actionable step to create the right value for your company. So this could be, the value could be in many ways. It could be developing of talent. It could be greater ROI for the company. It could be similar. So what we say is cheaper, better, faster. I mean, that's usually the short form of doing everything cheaper, better, faster. So when you put AI into all of this, essentially, and you have all the information at hand, I don't need to do analytics, I don't need to do processing, I don't need to do execution, all of that is readily there. But it is all a big sea of information in front of me. Can I just make sense of all of that in the world we are living in? So that's one skill, making judgment and inference, that's one. And second is, if we can really think on a very higher and a broader perspective, more from a systems thinking perspective, because the outcomes are all value driven, have to be value driven. You will be measured by the value you deliver for the company. So you need to think at a micro level and also at a higher level to ensure that whatever you're doing, it is generating enough productivity, enough value for the company in terms of the dollars, in terms of your learning. So two things, Devi, what I think. One is judgment and inference. Second is systems thinking, what I think are important, would be very important for the next 5 years. And this doesn't take away the human element of empathy, resilience, emotion, all the human aspects of it.
Absolutely. Very well said, Avi. And I think sometimes the smallest skill today is the superpower of tomorrow. 2 लाइन हिंदी में बोलना चाहूँगा. जो आज के लिए छोटी लगती है बात, जो आज के लिए छोटी लगती है बात, वही कल बनाती है नई सोच का रास्ता. Right? So it's all about the thought process. And on a lighter note, if I have to talk about on this point, let's be very honest, the most underrated skill for me at least is remembering all the passwords without clicking forgot password. So, that's on a lighter note. But yes, as you rightly said, that those are great skills, which is going to definitely add a lot of value. So with this, I'll move to the next one. And the next one, what I'm going to talk about is, again, a short story, and then I'll come to the question. A logistics company once hired a truck driver. But as you all know, when GPS system got rolled out, the same role needed digital literacy, data entry, customer experience, etc., etc. However, the job title stayed the same, but the description transformed. So at times, we may be having a same job title, but the kind of work that we have been doing over the years has been changing, has been evolving, and that all also we can see in our workplace. Because when you talk about, job descriptions is like, 10 tools or 15 years of experience or fluent in so and so. But in a skill-driven world, it is ever changing, and change is inevitable, and it is changing in a way where we are able to keep pace with that. And why do I say this? Because Gartner 2024 report, if you have to talk about, it says 43% of job descriptions today look outdated within 12 months due to the fast changing skill demands. So जो job description हमें लगता था 12 महीने पहले relevant है, unfortunately skills are changing, is not relevant anymore. So what happens is, with this I would like to understand from Rakesh. So Rakesh, over to you. Can traditional job descriptions survive in a skill-first world, or do we need a new system?
I think, yeah, in the shape and form the job descriptions are being used today, survival of those will be very difficult, and we definitely need to transition. Our job descriptions today, if you look at it, is very focused on designation, location, education, etc. Those are some of the key elements that you see in every job description. And with more and more Gen Z population coming into the workforce, we are already talking about the fact that, how do we quickly grasp their attention and what's their attention span. So a job description as lengthy as 2 pages or 3 pages might not work eventually in the future. So it has to transition. And while we may not need a new system, but how do we transition into an outcome-based job description, where we can look at potentially, job descriptions which are talking about KPIs, which are talking about skills that you need. How about maybe a video-based job description, where your hiring manager is, possibly describing the role, the opportunity, and calling out what he or she is looking for in an individual. So that's what I think eventually the future would be, where you can then look at attracting the right talent for the skills that you need, because the more we focus on skill-based recruiting in the future, and that's where it goes as we speak. I think the transition of job descriptions are equally important and imperatives.
Absolutely. Very well said, Rakesh. And I think job descriptions may expire, we don't know, but skill-based talent mapping is a new survival kit, right? Absolutely. इसलिए 2 लाइन बोलना चाहता हूँ. जिम्मेदारियों को लफ्जों में बांधना मुश्किल है. जिम्मेदारियों को लफ्जों में बांधना मुश्किल है. हुनरों का अंदाज सिर्फ अनुभव से होता है, right? It's all also about the experience that we give, right? All the way we make it easy for our employees, our peers, our colleagues, that it's going to help them, and as our team as well. So with this, I will shift gears now. I've been shifting gears, and also having an eye on the clock, it is ticking. So I'll move to the next one. Again, a short story. At a financial services firm, a young manager struggled leading a team where one member was of literally little senior, and in corporate world we say like father's age. Respectfully we say that, right? Somebody with good 3 decades plus of experience. So instead of giving orders, he initiated reverse mentoring. Older employees taught him about industry wisdom, while he taught them about digital tools. The team not only performed better, but they also bonded across organizations. So if you talk about this era today, you see 4 generations are working together in our organizations today. I'm sure in most of the organizations maybe. From baby boomers to Gen Z, right? Each with different values, styles, comfort with technology. However, managing them is not just leadership, but it's about more the orchestra. And I don't know whether you have noticed it or not, especially when there's an orchestra happening, there's a master. The master may not be playing the music, but his objective is to tuning with the team members who are going to play the music, right? He is the one who is also not facing the audience. He is the one who is facing the musicians. Actually, his back is facing the audience. But he plays a very pivotal role in stitching the team together, right? That's how the role of an orchestra master is all about. So my next question is to Mario, my dear friend. What skills will leaders need most to manage a workforce that is multi-generational and increasingly digital?
Yeah, very profound question, because today we see it's a very diverse workforce that we have. Like he said, all the 4 generations are there to handle. So I think the first and foremost thing is a high level of emotional intelligence the managers should adapt. And that's where, as an organization, I could say JP Morgan adopts servant leadership, because we cannot remain the same with a Gen X, Gen Alpha, Gen Y, or a baby boomer. Everybody are totally different. So emotionally understanding them, because for somebody, flexibility is the key. Whereas for the next generation, standard processes and policy is the key, right? So as a manager, if I have a team with 2 generations, how do I balance? How do I understand somebody who wants flexibility, saying that, hey, today I don't feel like working, I woke up late, understanding that, still looking at his or her productivity, and how do I also balance somebody says that, hey, what should I do next? Can you give me the entire itinerary or the process of what should I follow? So I think emotional intelligence is extremely important. Second is digital communication. When I say digital communication, I think the manager should move out by sending an email saying, hey, you know what, this is what it is. because there is a generation who hates looking at email. So I send an email. I also send a professional communication on WhatsApp as well, because this person is on WhatsApp. Or it could be, I would also give a reminder on his Insta profile as well. So it sounds a little crazy, but how do you quickly communicate? How your communication is going to become more digital? Let it be a day-to-day communication, or let it be a very profound formal communication like a town hall as well. Because people don't have patience now to sit for a 1.5 hour town hall. I can see people walking out when there is a town hall meeting. So how do we change that platform is number 2. Number 3, extremely important, is coaching and mentoring. I think that's an extremely important skills where a lot of coaching, the managers should become good coaches, good mentors, peer-to-peer coaching, peer-to-peer mentoring is pretty much important. And the last, I would talk about an inclusive culture. Inclusivity is very, very important. You cannot, when I'm sitting on a PMS platform, somebody who has hardly come for, let's say in a month of 365 days, somebody has come for 40 days at work, somebody has come for 300 days to work, somebody has come for 50 days at work. Should I look at it that way, or should I have an inclusive culture saying that let's see their skills, let's see their contribution, let's see how do they work. So inclusivity is extremely important. So I think these are the very important skills. 1 is emotional intelligence, 2 is digital communication, 3 is an inclusive culture which is need to be adapted. Thank you.
Absolutely. Very well said, Mario. Thank you. I'd like to put it across by saying that the leaders of tomorrow won't be just the decision makers. They will be the translators of generations and bridges across the digital divide. अगर 4 जनरेशन की बात हो रही है तो 2 लाइन तो होना चाहिए उन सब के लिए, राइट? हर उम्र की जज्बात अलग, हर उम्र की जज्बात अलग, हर सोच का रंग अलग, हर उम्र की जज्बात अलग, हर सोच का रंग अलग. जो लीडर सबको जोड़े वही होता है असली मार्गदर्शक, right? That's what leadership is all about. So thank you, and with this I'll move to the next one. The next one I'm going to cover about is the growth one, which is there as part of our, we are moving on from redefining talent to growth and future of work. One company introduced micro learning Fridays, 15-minute capsules instead of 3 hours marathons. Employees reported higher adoption and even look forward to it. So what is happening is reskilling is more like gym training. Too much and people burn out. Too little and people fall behind. So balance is the key. And if you have to look about statistics, McKinsey says that, or they have found out 94% of employees would stay longer at a company that invests in continuous learning. But 42% leave if learning feels forced or irrelevant. So with this, I would like to ask my friend Ashish, how can organizations help employees constantly reskill without overwhelming them?
Thanks, Devi. With due respects, I would like to have a difference of opinion with the question itself. HR people, we normally agree to dissent, so we can take the liberty. So my point is, I would say this question is a bit, okay, not completely, kind of outdated. I would say the onus to learn, enhance skills today lies on you. 10 years back, yes, my manager, my company, my organization, my boss, my spouse, my relatives, my neighbors, whatever. But today, we know the average shelf life of a tech skill versus a non-tech skill. The average shelf life of a tech skill has reduced from 5 years to just 1 year. And the average shelf life of a non-tech skill has reduced from 3 years to just 2 years. The point is, relearning, unlearning is not an option for each one of us present over here. If we do not learn, if we do not upgrade our iOS, we'll get obsolete, shift delete in the system. So the point is, that is on our part, but yes, as HR leaders, we also make certain initiatives and ensure that employees get an opportunity. So what we would try to do, we would have bite-sized learning, because I would say the span to kind of, to keep your attention is very less, the attention span. We have bite-sized learning, and then we also promote some kind of badges, like someone has done some certifications. Like last week in my organization, Someone had done a PMP certification. So we kind of appreciate it, and we have some brownie points for these people, for these employees. Thirdly, we also have some well-being, because my point is too much, every employee is working under a lot of pressure these days. We try to be extremely judgmental. Oh, Devi's life is like this, Ashish's life is like this, XYZ's life is like this. No, you really have no clues what's happening in the background. There's so many suicides happening every 2-3 days we are seeing on Instagram. The point is, again, we also ensure that there is a well-being program so that there's a balance between learning, work, and the employee is able to enjoy his experience while he's working with us. Thank you.
Perfect, Ashish. Very well said. And as I believe, the best rescaling feels like fuel, right? Not like luggage, right? And as long as you are able to hone up your skills, definitely you can face any challenges that is posed by the corporate world. कहते हैं ना, सीखने का सफर कभी रुकना नहीं चाहिए. सीखने का सफर कभी रुकना नहीं चाहिए, पर बोझ बन के पीठ झुकना भी नहीं चाहिए. So with this, I'll move to the next one. The next one is again a short story. In a retail chain, when self-checkout machines came in, cashiers feared that they would lose their job, they will become jobless. Instead, the company retained them into customer experience roles. So not only did they survive, but also the customer satisfaction scores went ahead, and in fact it doubled. So automation is not villain, it's like a sidekick, but only if you position it right. And if you talk about PwC's future of work says 30% of jobs may be automated by 2035, but 65% of employees in automated sectors upskilled into better roles. So with this, I'd like to ask my friend Abhishek, many employees fear automation, right? How can we make growth conversations more about opportunity than fear?
Okay, thanks, Devi. So I think one of the aspects with respect to our digital literacy right now is something which all of us, including the employees, have to go through. There was a discussion, there was an earlier remark on continuous learning and, of course, upgrading yourself and relearning. So the first point is to essentially, all these reports, PwC, etc., you get to hear this, that see, these jobs will go away, these jobs will change, something what you're doing today will not be there tomorrow. I think this is driving a lot of fear psychosis. So first part is to have conversation at a very individual level I'm talking about, to have conversations of the managers or leaders with the employees saying that, okay, what are the things in your process, in your piece of work, which you can eliminate or automate or change completely. So this generates opportunities. This is basically a discussion on improvement and not on eliminating the job. So that's one, and make the conversation more positive. Second is, again, at the same individual level, you tell the managers and the leaders have the discussion that, okay, if you learn these XYZ technologies, or you learn to do your work in a different way, probably you will get eligible for a higher position or an enlarged job or a promotion. I mean, so the incentive part will help there. So that's more at a very individual level in terms of doing those productive conversations. At a more structured organization level, it has to be, okay, finding a cohort of people who are very enthusiastic, who probably have some familiarity with tech, and they are the people who start and generate so-called sort of a little bit of a in-house project or in-house set of initiative, which really helps to drive this tech initiatives within the company. So in our company, for example, we have a group of people who are technology agnostic. They work on multiple technologies, but they work for different functions. So people can go inside that cohort, as in from different functions. If I have to go inside that, in that team, I can go. I can present my process to them. I can ask them, okay, what is, how can you improve this process, or what tool can be deployed here to sort of improve it, reduce the cycle time, etc. So they tell us, and then you learn and you come back and you deploy that particular activity in your process. So that is another way in which you can actually make this very, very practical in terms of driving the technical initiatives. And so this is one category in which you can drive it. And I agree with Ashish to the extent that, okay, this is a time where it's difficult to push people to do anything. It's very difficult to motivate. So you can't wake up a person, right, who is pretending to sleep. So if somebody doesn't want to learn, no matter what you do, I think things will not move, and then you have to take other initiatives, other actions, essentially. So that is what, Devi, I think, essentially would be.
Thank you, Avi, and very rightfully said, automation is not just about replacing humans, it's about upgrading humans, right? डर से नहीं, उम्मीद से भविष्य बनता है. डर से नहीं, उम्मीद से भविष्य बनता है. machine के साथ चलते इंसान भी आगे बढ़ता है, right? We need to work together, right? The workplace and the work environment all must go hand in hand. All right, we need to move to the next one. So there was a young data analyst once said, my manager taught me SQL or SQL, which is actually called, right, long back. But my mentor taught me when to stop analyzing and start deciding. The balance shaped her into a leader. So reskilling may give us knowledge, but mentorship gives us wisdom. And there's a big difference between that. And in fact, if I talk about LinkedIn Learning says that 67% of our employees feel reports 67% of employees with a mentor feel more engaged and stay longer with the organization. And mentors can be like a Google Maps, right? Sometimes they reroute you, sometimes they warn you because of the traffic, and sometimes they also puzzle you, right? They show you some other direction, right? But they always get you closer to your destination. So it's all about how you're trying to read it from them. So with this, I'd like to move to my friend and ask my friend Rakesh. Rakesh, what is the role of mentorship in a skill-driven growth culture?
I think it's very relevant and important in today's time because, this mentorship will help bridge that gap faster, with more and more focus on skill-based, work environment. Mentorship is going to be the key because at any given point in time, staying connected, helping navigate, like you just mentioned as well. And then, somewhere Mario also touched upon mentorship aspect in his previous conversation. So I think it's one of the key elements of the future. You have to, as an organization, focus on enabling the right culture and the environment of mentorship. It's important that leaders take up this as an opportunity and help the young ones in the organization navigate faster, quicker, and hence that gap could be bridged quickly for an organization eventually in the long run. So that's where I think mentorship becomes very relevant and important as we move forward in the future.
Absolutely. As you rightly mentioned, mentorship is not just about teaching skills, but it's all about shaping careers as well. So with this, I'll move to the next one. The workforce that we are stepping into is not going to be the same one that we entered, right? All of us know this. It's faster, flutter, and full of change. And the right advice at the right time can change the entire trajectory of a career. So according to World Economics Forum 2024, the average shelf life of a skill is now less than 5 years, which means continuous learning is the only constant for all professionals. So, in fact, there was a fresh graduate, a short story, once asked a senior leader, which skill should I master to succeed? The leader replied, master the skill of learning itself. Because every skill will keep changing. That graduate went on to switch 3 industries successfully in almost 15 to 16 years. So the skill of learning is going to take us to the new heights, and learning should be a habit. So with this, I'd like to ask my friend Mario, if you had to give one piece of advice to young professionals, mark my word, one piece of advice, entering the workforce today, what would it be?
You already answered it in the story. All right, I think it was learn, work, retire. Okay, you finish your college graduation, you work for 40 years, you retire, right? Then you learn, work, then again you resign because one person, I remember my father used to work for 40 years in the same company and retire. And now we have somebody who works for 40 companies in 40 years. Okay. Now it's come to a stage, why should I actually work when I could earn money, right? So I think from learn, work, retire, we move to learn, relearn, and there's not going to be any retirement because Even at 60 or 70, if you have the right skill, you could still be as an acting professor and you could teach somewhere. There's not going to be retirement in the future. You could still be an independent director, right? So we moved from learn, work, retire to learn, relearn, continuously learn. Which means adaptability would be a core skill that the young professional needs to adapt. Because like rightly mentioned by Dev and the rest of the panelists, which said that the shelf life of any technical skills, even after 6 months, is going to change. Right, Python is going to change, AI is going to change, LLM is going to change. Lot of, let it be blockchain, cybersecurity, threat modeling, all the skills are going to change. That means if I write a job profile in 2030, the job profile is going to be totally different. If you need to prepare a resume in 2030, your resume is going to be totally different. So I think the skill to adapt, to skill to relearn would be the one strong advice which I would like to give.
Thank you. A big thank you to Mario. So with this, I'd like to summarize what all we discussed here. Skill over degrees. The hiring world is shifting from pedigree to performance, and what you studied to what you can do. Second is going to be, spoke about continuous learning, right? With the shelf life of skills shrinking fast, adaptability is the real superpower, as mentioned by Mario, right? Human plus digital, right? Future leaders must balance empathy with technology, blending emotional intelligence with digital fluency. We spoke about inclusive talent as well. The true progress comes from diverse voices and generations finding place at the same table and at the same time. Multi-generational workforce or orchestration, I can say. Leaders must act as translators and bridges, not just managers. We spoke about employee experience, where growth is no longer just promotions, it's purpose, autonomy, and learning. We spoke about agility and flexibility. Success lies in unlearning and relearning, not clinging to old playbooks. Young professionals' mantra, don't chase job titles, chase skills, adaptability, and impact. We also spoke about the new workplace where skills is the new currency, agility is the new passport, and learning is the new lifelong job. And finally, what we spoke about, the final essence is that the future of work is not coming tomorrow, it's already here. And it rewards only those who can evolve today. So ladies and gentlemen, with this, we'd like to sign off. Thank you so much for patient hearing. Thanks a lot. God bless you. If you have any questions, we have 2 minutes. We can take any questions for our panel members. And if you don't have any questions, then we can put a big round of applause for all of you as well. Any questions? Anyone? Oh, I can see a hand. Can you give a mic to him, please?
I have one basic doubt. Present day curriculum will not meet the industry needs, but they have taken certificate course, all these things, already you mentioned that one. But in the curriculum, they are not studying all the skills required in the industry. How do you select that type of people?
Ashish, you can take
Because nowadays you require some skilled persons, but in fresh level, they don't have anything.
Got it, sir?
All right.
Got it. We'll keep it short and simple. Right. Thank you. A very, very important question. First of all, let's give a round of applause for this question to him, to sir. A very important question because today faculty members are going to teach the skills which by my graduates are not going to be unemployed rather. The point of it, that's the reason we have board of studies. That's exactly the reason why we have people from the corporate, from the industry to advise the academia because jo dikhta hai wo bikhta hai, right? The point is, so they will advise us what are the skill sets required in today's world so that so the faculty members train the students on those skills and then they become employable. To give a small, quick turnaround stats, if you look at February 2023 Goldman Sachs report, they mentioned that more than 300 million full-time jobs are going to be replaced by generative AIs. ChatGPT was one of them. 2024 World Economic Forum report states that more than 85 million jobs are going to be out due to generative AI. However, at the same time, 93 million new jobs will be created. So which means, in fact, there is an increase in the number of jobs. So these kind of inputs will be given by the corporate to the academia so that the academia incorporates them into the curriculum and train industry-ready graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashish. I hope it has answered your question.
They will just add.
So we can take one
In a very simple,
please go ahead.
In
Please
a
go
very
ahead.
simple term, don't have only student intern. Credentials is extremely important. Credentials open the door. Without a college degree, the door doesn't get opened. So credentials is extremely important. Skill shows the way, all right? So instead of only student intern, you have professors intern as well. We have professors who are coming to JP Morgan and working with us and taking up some small projects. During that time, they network and they understand what are the skills. Maybe that's something we could try. A very simple form.
All right, thank you. We have come to a closure. If you have any questions, you can take it offline during the break time, because I understand the next panel is going to start now. So thank you so much for your patient listening, and it was truly enjoyed it. Thank you so much.